Should be going live again.
We're live?
Okay, let's try this again.
We had some audio difficulties, but that's all right because we're primed. Thank you for giving us the feedback. So if you're in the comment section, whether you're live with us in the comment section or you're watching the replay of this, ask us your questions. This is a place where we look to interact with you guys, answer your questions live. And sometimes people connect with us either during the live or right after and end up coming through our world. So they go on our website. Can we show that right now? Can you go to my screen?
Yeah.
So we go to our website, go to book a call here, fill out your information, and then we have Charlotte. She's on our team. She's an assistant of ours. She'll ask you the necessary questions. If it makes sense to introduce you to the lender first, usually end up talking with us if you're ready to go. Whatever the steps may be, we have a process, we have a flow chart. Go to the website, coreteamhawaii.com, and connect with us. But in lieu of that, ask your questions in the comment section, whether it's live or later. We're also today going to show you one of our listings that we need to get sold. We're going to show you, we're going to do street art on this wall. We have like a whole mural. So we're going to show you the artist and kind of his work.
Little sneak peek.
Sneak peek. He's coming tomorrow and the next day. And you're going to talk about new construction?
Yeah, we're going to do a little update on new construction, touch on a couple different builds, and we're going to also have Jody come in here at some point, and do a market update.
So we're going to talk about interest rates, kind of the fear in the world right now. Countries, the BRICS countries are moving off the dollar. I haven't even talked to Jody about this yet, so it's concerning. And her brother too, who doesn't wish to be on camera. So, but it's an interesting time. I wasn't so worried about the bank closures, but other countries moving off the dollar, that's concerning to me. And then my expertise doesn't extend too far. So I'm not going to be one of these people that acts like I know what the future brings. But I can tell you I have some concerns. Ho'opili, you guys shot a Ho'opili video today, yeah?
Yeah, so we went down to Ho'opili today to just kind of give everybody a little bit of an update. I know we've done a couple in there before, but like I mentioned today, when we're in the community, things are changing as far as releases, how they happen, the things you need to do to prepare for those releases. And it's, they kind of are fluid a little bit, so we're never quite sure what the process is going to look like the next time a release comes out. But I want to just tell you a little bit of how the last couple of releases have been, just so that you're aware that they're different now. And
this starts to get into market update too, because they behave according to the market.
Yeah.
Now what they just did.
Yeah, so what we just had, so we had a Ikena release on Monday. Today is what, Wednesday? Yeah, so on Monday, they dropped a new release for Ikena. There were only 12 homes in that whole release, and that's not a lot.
Our clients got one.
But in the past...
1 or 2?
I think just one.
Okay.
Yeah. In the past, we had over 100, maybe a couple hundred people who would want these homes, and so they did it via lottery. On the one hand, that's, easier to deal with. I mean, your chances are less likely. However, it's easier to prepare for that because you have some lead time.
If you're traveling and you're not here, or like if you're not one of the first 12 people in line,
exactly,
your chances are guaranteed 0. And so we will try to get in line for, like, if on that day we didn't have someone that we knew needed us to go stand in line for them. We had our one client who lives there and went in and got themselves third in line.
Yeah.
If we needed to rush down there, thing is you have to bring a check.
Yeah, that's
so we would have to have
the hold up.
We'd have to have your check, your payment, but other than the logistics, if we needed to be your person in line, we'll do that. But if you're not here, if you are traveling or whatever, the lottery might be better because at least you have a 1 in...
Especially if you're like
20
on
chance.
the mainland, or you live on the mainland, you're making a move over here. It just makes it a lot more difficult for that type of buyer to secure a home in Ho'opili right now. So
the market's not so hot that they're doing lotteries, but they're not at a point of begging because those homes went in an hour.
Yeah, they go fast.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, and it's it can be difficult, but really I want to just talk about how the things that you can do that are within your control, because we don't know when they're going to release. We don't know if you're going to be working at that time. We don't know if you're going to be off island at the time. But the things we can control, we want to make sure you're aware of, just so that you have the best chances when the release comes. So I want to talk about a couple of those things. There's two major things. So number one is you have to, per their instructions now. The last time they released, they didn't really, it was kind of like, we don't really know, so just like people were coming or calling, showing up at the office, emailing. After that release, they decided, okay, so even in their email, they're like, if you want to secure a home, you have to come to the office.
Okay.
So one person you can't like go there and like, I couldn't go there and represent two clients. Like one person has to be there for one family. You can't have multiple people represented by one person. You have to have a check ready to go. You also need to have a current pre-approval. Now that's the big one that I want to talk about, because a lot of people are like, in the past they're like, I'm not going to go ahead and get my pre-approval done yet because these constructions aren't done for a few months and I don't want to do that too far ahead of time. Now that makes sense in your mind and it sounds like it would make sense, but here they want that to be current already. So you should start your process now. If you have an interest in Ho'opili, in order to be prepared for the next releases, you need to start that pre-approval process now. Please call us. We can connect you to lenders so we can get that started.
No one's a bigger procrastinator than me. I hate paperwork. So we have world-class paperwork people on our team, literally. Yeah. And I get not wanting to do it right away. But there's nothing but positive that comes out of getting pre-approved. You may be in your home and not want to change homes for 5 years. If you could talk to a lender and spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes with basically a financial expert, see where your credit's at, position. It's like estate planning, financial planning to a small degree.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to, except for it's just kind of inconvenient.
Yeah.
So you gotta do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just reintroduced to our lender 3 people on my team and was like, hey, I'm sending you this intro for our agents who you know and see all the time. We gotta always have them positioned. I did that last week.
Yeah.
And they're not buying tomorrow or next month, but it's like, I need my people to be positioned to take opportunities when they come.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking new construction necessarily.
Yeah, so like Derek is mentioning, it's never a bad idea to have that conversation and to know where you stand. However, it is absolutely essential to have that conversation ASAP if you plan to show any kind of interest in Ho'opili, because that can be the point of where you could wait in that line and you get there, but you're not pre-approved yet and you get turned away and it goes to the next person.
Yeah.
So make sure you reach out. We need to get you pre-approved. And they say current, you're like, oh, okay, well, what if by the time the next release comes, it's not current anymore? It takes a lot less time to bring a pre-approval that you've already gotten
back up to speed
than it does to start that entire process.
Yeah.
So don't procrastinate. Call us and we can help you get set up.
I have 2 things. One, I'm just getting over being sick because Mahe got me sick.
I did.
So excuse the cough drop in the water. 2, I'm saying that I need my team members, because I'm invested in my team members building wealth through real estate. And when these opportunities come up, you got to be ready. Last year, I had just bought an investment property, and so I wasn't pre-approved or positioned to make any moves. I don't know if I could have even done this anyways, but we had an opportunity come across our desk. We were the first to know. It was new construction, one of the builders, I'm not gonna say who, I don't get the salespeople in trouble. One of the new builders called us first. Said, look, this opportunity came up, it's a Friday afternoon. We're not gonna solicit it any further because I'm walking out the door. Try and bring us a buyer. We went live like this. Our lives are way less sophisticated. This is pretty ghetto actually. But we ended up getting someone that opportunity. They bought $990,000 place, $1 million to make it easy, for like $820 something, $830.
Yeah.
The timing of that was unique. It's not always going to happen, but the point is even for me, who I'm not buying today, I should have the gun loaded and ready to go today. Of course, I don't mean to not be, lack sensitivity with recent things saying gun, but you gotta be ready, because we get deals that come across sometimes. So be ready. All right, moving on from that.
We got some questions.
Got some questions. Do you guys want to see the artist that? Huh?
Look at the questions.
Okay. Do you guys want to see the artist that is gonna do this wall Or should I save it to the end? Let me know in the comments. What's questions?
All right. Looks like Eva Ocean Point is getting more affordable. Some single-family homes around 800.
Yeah, there's a lot more inventory active and not in escrow than in the previous market. So in the previous market, you put up a subdivision like Eva Beach or Ocean Point, you'd see like, this many in escrow and this many active. And what that represents is as soon as they go active, they move to the in escrow. Right now, you see a lot more active because they're waiting weeks, if not months, to sell, depending on pricing and marketing. Lauren and I actually have some clients looking, and you're also seeing some overpriced homes because you're seeing sellers who are holding on to the value of the past. With that being said, the spring market seems to be heating up, and we just came off of an interest rate reduction when Silicon Valley Bank closed. Seemed that their response to that was to lower rates to keep confidence in the market. Rates went back up a bit, but we've had multiple where we've written offers for our buyers, and they're like, "Oh, we're reviewing offers at this time."
Yeah, which we haven't seen in a long time. Offer deadlines.
I'm like, okay.
And multiple offer
Okay,
situations.
we're reviewing offers.
But they literally are having multiple offers.
I know.
Which is, it's just indicative of things are starting to heat up a little bit, especially
It depends
in certain
where.
areas.
It depends where.
Yeah.
So, if your house is a commodity, there's 17 of them. You're in a condo building. There's 30 of the same thing on sale. That's a lot different than. And
Like
in
a
Ocean
single-family
Point,
home in Kailua or something.
Kailua for sure,
Yeah.
like a redone, remodeled. And in Ocean Point, there are more desirable streets and pockets than others, and then homes that are renovated and are not. So, point is if you have a well-maintained and or renovated home that's marketed well, positioned well, priced the appropriate way, etc., you could accomplish some quick results right now. But we're all seeing inventory sit because either at these interest rates, buyers don't want like junk, old homes that need renovations, and or sellers are committed to this old pricing that doesn't exist anymore.
Also a little bit of like just an experience with a couple of listings that have been sitting for a little while that are where buyers are in areas that aren't like a Kailua, where there could be multiple units and multiple buildings all around each other that are quite similar, and they're sitting for a while. A buyer has more of an ability to be a little more choosy now, and there's not like a rush to like make an offer on something without exploring their other options. There's not as much of a sense of urgency in buyers to lock something in. So that, depending on the area, depending on, how special your unit is, how many other similar types of buildings or homes are in the area, that can also attribute to sitting for longer and us seeing things sit longer. It's because buyers have more options that, in the past, we just weren't able to do that. It was, you see something, you jump on it right now.
That's what I said.
Not.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Who said it best?
Maybe said it. All right, what we got?
Is buying a $100K apartment in full cash in Honolulu worth it for a single guy? Well, I don't really know where you would find that.
It's hard to answer that, but if you find a $100,000 condo, it's going to be a leasehold.
Yeah.
You're still going to have a maintenance fee and pay, lease and whatever. So, is it worth it? It just depends what you're trying to do. If you like coming here and you like having your place that only you sleep in when you come here 4 times a year, and don't have to share sheets with other people or whatever, then maybe. So yeah, it just depends.
No core team swag, not yet, Eric, but we're
I
working.
thought the store is open.
Is it?
I tagged them in the comments.
Oh, you
Oh, he
tagged them?
tagged you.
Should I go into it after?
No, bring it up.
Okay. Go to the next question. I'll bring up the store.
Okay, well, Derek's working on that. Are they still requiring owner occupancy at Ho'opili? I would like to buy, but likely won't be able to actually occupy for another 6 to 9 months. No. So they kind of like front-ended all of that owner occupancy stuff. So all of the, I don't know if it could be different later, but every release that's come out recently, like we've had a couple people like
Our
Sumi.
buyers have not had to sign the owner occupant affidavit.
Yeah, no. So if you're an investor and you want to rent it out for a few months before you occupy or for a couple years or whatever it might be, that is an option for you now. Yeah.
Now, you should use the type of loan appropriate
for
and
that.
you shouldn't commit mortgage fraud. And I could not help you do that. I've known people to use like FHA loans and then rent them out or whatever. You shouldn't use an inappropriate loan for the situation you're doing. But as far as DR Horton's concerned, I don't know exactly how it works at the high end, like DPP level, like state level, whatever. But they can't just make this investment.
Yeah, it has to be at least
community.
50% owner occupancy.
Is it 50?
I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they knew that's a certain percentage. So when the market was the craziest seller's market ever, everyone had to sign the owner occupant affidavit. Now the market shift. They've either filled their quota or aren't concerned about whatever, but our recent buyers have not had to sign that
Yeah.
affidavit.
But as we're getting releases, if they're, ask us because they will let that information be known
changes,
as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
just double check with us.
And are you looking for a townhome or single family or what?
Mm-hmm.
Ken, can you go to my screen? So if you're looking for the core team swag, you go to our YouTube channel, go to store, and you can buy swag there. We're gonna get more stuff, okay? So let us know in the comments what you want to see. I used to actually, Mahe's the one with all this, style and swag and whatever. But I had a clothing company. We made T-shirts for. I used to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I had this whole company, so I like making shirts and brand, and so we're gonna be making like a bunch of that kind of stuff that is either Hawaii centric and or core team centric. Because a lot of people who watch our channel, they just are fans of Hawaii, miss Hawaii, are from Hawaii, living on the mainland, whatever. And the way this all, you could go off the screen if you want, but the way this all happened was I was on the treadmill at the gym. I was like, I'm going to go live. So I put the thing on the treadmill, bad audio, bad picture. I'm just like interacting with people. And people started sending me like money, like tips, like, oh, we just appreciate what you do. And I was like, for one, I didn't know you could do that on YouTube. But I guess that's how the video game people make their money.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so people oh my God, thank you. Yeah, so you don't have to, go buy some swag. We don't, well, thank you so much. So people sent money, and I was like, let's give them something to purchase. And multiple people have asked for our T-shirts. Like, how can I get one of those T-shirts? So here you go. I haven't actually ordered one yet, so. The way it's like a print on demand thing.
Oh wow, I actually really like that.
The lifeguard
yellow,
looking
the
one.
lifeguard
Yeah,
look.
the lifeguard
Yeah,
looking
I
one.
want
That
that
was cool.
one.
Yeah. Me too. Go beach with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, what we got next?
Let's see. I caught you guys live. What's up, Sam? Thinking of condo, Wailana, Waikiki, or Waipuna. What's the rental market in those condos? Thinking of starting a new chapter in Hawaii, maybe 1.5 to 2 years from now. Also, what do you guys know about the buildings and property management? Drink some warm green tea, he says. And thanks as always. I'm not too familiar with the rental market in either of those buildings. I haven't really looked into that for anybody.
And where? Wailuna?
No, Waipuna.
Oh.
Wailana.
Wailana.
And Waipuna.
And Waipuna.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but you can. I'll look into that for you though. Send us a contact form and I can do some
What
research.
I would do if I were you, I would want to, in a building like that, I'd probably want to get traveling nurses in. Typically, their contract is 13 weeks. The traveling nurse, that's like all the investors. That's the new buzzword in the investment world. Midterm rentals, traveling nurses, and then you can use it. You have 13 week. You have a little 2 week stretch in between. So a furnished traveling nurse sort of corporate rental is probably what I would target. And I mean, the rental market, my experience in people renting condos is that you certainly can. I like the furnished option. There's nothing that makes your condo unique when there's 500 other ones, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of a different game. What else we got?
I saw a listing in my range when I retire on North Shore that says DLNR says seawall must be rebuilt by 2024. How dangerous is something like that to buy? And what would it cost to replace the wall?
It depends. We'd have to look at that property.
Yeah.
It can cost tens of thousands of dollars.
DLNR says seawall must be rebuilt.
And then getting the permit. So I'd have to look at the listing. If DLNR is saying that the seawall must be rebuilt, I would hope then that we could just get the permit.
Right.
But I would not. I would be foolish to assume that the two sides of the government are talking to each other. Maybe they've already have the approved permits as they're listing it.
Maybe it's just a reparation thing. Maybe they just had a wall fail and they already have the permits for it.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets intricate and tricky. So situationally, is it worth it? Would it be something to pursue?
Yeah, how dangerous is something like that?
How dangerous?
How dangerous is something like that to buy?
Where? Wailua?
It just says North Shore, which could be,
Could be all
anywhere.
over
Yeah.
North Shore.
It depends
For
where
me,
it is.
I don't feel much danger
It
in
depends
most
where it is.
places.
Yeah, because there are some places where if, say, DLNR, everybody says it's fine, and you're able to repair or restore that wall that you already have that's permitted, maybe it would be okay. But then there are other areas, like in Sunset, where there is just no more lot to rebuild, to properly rebuild the wall, and it becomes very dangerous because you just don't have the ability to.
Your danger and liability are two different things, right? So if you're on the Siwa in Haula, where my auntie them lived when I was young, and like water comes into your house, you have concrete floors, everything gonna get damaged, your kitchen cabinet's gonna swell. Like, yeah, but they were never gonna die.
Yeah.
So dangerous. I would be more concerned about living somewhere in Hariva along the river, where when the dam lets out, your house might float
flooding.
away.
Yeah, right.
And that's not even near the ocean. That's near when the river overflows. So are most of these shoreline places dangerous? Not usually, because they're not. The homes aren't set up to where like big waves, shore breaks gonna sweep you out into the ocean. But is it a great liability? I'd say so. And for whatever reason, ocean levels rising has become like political ideology. Well, whatever you think's going to happen there, if the waters are going to rise, it continues to be a liability. So I like the idea of something flood zone D or X, but near, like, close enough where I can kind of see and smell the ocean, but I don't necessarily walk out of my back porch onto the sand. You can also find, depending on your life situation, if you can find that walking out your back porch onto the sand brings a host of maintenance issues with a house. Being a little back, set a little back, it keeps the ocean a little more novel because you have to go to it. It's not as much of a pain. But, like, we have a client who's counting his years, and he's a surfer and wants the ocean, and he has plenty of money. In fact, gives money to charity, and is like, I want a house on the ocean. I understand all these things. I'm gonna pay cash, go next to the ocean, and that's a different thing too. So it's so situational.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next question?
Also, don't forget to, because a lot of people don't even know about flood zones. So you mentioned flood zones to these people. Don't forget that.
Oh, sorry, I kind of just spoke over people's heads. So there's flood zone A, E, V, E. Those are the worst. D is like kind of the best, and then X is good too. So you have to get a different kind of insurance. Cost is incurred when you're in VE, Victor Echo, and AE, Alpha Echo, or AEF.
Yeah, so that's something to research and think about as well. Flood insurance premiums and how that is going to fit into your budget for your house too.
Changes things. So like these other clients don't care. Maintenance, flood insurance, all don't care. Want a nice house for my last years. Have plenty of money.
Yeah, so long story short, super situational.
Super situational. As on
It kind of depends, yeah. Kara, y'all are great, thank you. My husband and I watch you guys all the time. Got a new job with Hawaii government, and we are moving to Oahu from DC in mid-May. Renting first, how hot is the market with rising rates? Thanks.
So moving from DC,
Mid-May, renting first. How hot is the market?
Rental market?
Yeah,
or
I don't know if you mean
do you
rental
mean how
market.
our rates driving? Let's just talk about both.
Yeah, okay.
So is the rental market tough? Yes. Higher rates can drive more renters into the market. It could be very tough. We've had, like, the listing appointment we went on, they were like, we can't find a place.
Yeah.
Who else was renting? Someone else recently was renting, these two physicians. And they're like, we're noticing there's not a ton of inventory. So yeah, the rental market is tough, continues to be tough, and kind of always is in Hawaii. But at the same time, they want people with good jobs. I mean, they're not supposed to discriminate. But I know property managers like read between the lines. If no pets, good jobs, all those kind of things, and a good record, I think you'll be able to find a place. How is the housing market? We're going to get a little more into that when Jody comes in. But we're in this weird place. Fourth quarter last year, really slow. January, really slow. Ending of January, like, what, seller's market again? What's going on? February, hot, crazy. March,
It kind of slowed down a
most
little.
started to shift, but then we got lower interest rates at the end of March because of the Silicon Valley Bank thing. So a little peak. And then right now, rates are not good. The market probably shouldn't be as hot as it is. But there's a lot of simple economics. A lot of people want to buy houses. A lot of people, not as many people are selling them. So supply and demand is still there. That the market is a lot stronger than you would like it to be. Because if you've been like sitting on the edge, like I'll go, but interest rates are good now, but there's all this competition. I'll go when it slows down. I'll go when it slows down. You're like, man, interest rates went up, but prices didn't come down to meet me where I want the monthly payment to be, and that could be very frustrating. But the fact of the matter is, there's enough demand for the supply that prices are not going to come down to the level that you'd hope they would now that rates are 6-something%.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point too, that we're seeing influx of two kinds of buyers.
Yeah.
One, well, I'll let you say it. So one, buyers that were from the old market,
Yeah,
and
so-
then new buyers, right?
Yeah, so two kinds of buyers from the old market, and now enough time has kind of passed since we were in that ridiculously low interest rate that they've kind of let go of that, and they've overcome that ascending rate, and they're like, okay, it is what it is, and we're renewed and we're refreshed and we're ready to come back. And then we have buyers who are brand new coming to the market and never experienced that rate, so
And
it's
that's,
just
we do, maybe no one on the island helps more buyers than Mahe individually. And so, because of her position on this team, being like the head agent and stuff, so you're seeing less people that are like giving you the objection. In sales, we call it objection, that, well, the rates were X and the price, they're just brand new to it.
Yeah.
So like,
and
these are the
yes,
rates, these are the
exactly,
prices, right?
Exactly. So when you haven't existed in that market, it's easier, it's more palatable to exist in the one we're in now.
Yeah.
And another thing too I wanted to touch on is, like, you know, Hawaii is always going to be like a low demand, high supply state. But additionally to that,
High demand, low supply.
that's what I meant. Yes,
Yeah.
high demand, low supply. High demand, low supply, because of the nature of it being an island. But
Like,
another
yeah.
thing, additionally to that, is, you know, because rates are high, when we have sellers who then need to purchase their next property, if they bought and their rate is, you know, X, they're thinking, my next move, I'm going to have a much higher rate, and that kind of makes the supply even lower because a seller is not as inclined to come to market now. So still, we have low supply.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
That's another point.
lots of different things.
I have a few listings right now that are like, Derek, well, the peak was here. Like, the peak was way up here. Prices have come down. And I'm like, yeah, historically, you're still at, near the crest. They're like, well, we're not selling until things get back to the peak. So if that's 3 years from now, we saw that our house was once worth $1 million. Now it's $950. If we got to wait 3-4 years for it to be $1 million again, we're fine with that. We're sticking it out. And so there's that. That's why lack of supply as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, let me just speak to it. If you watch this channel a lot, you've heard me say this, but briefly I'll say, I can parrot and echo the thoughts and sentiments of really educated people that make a case for a recession and a housing market crisis. Now, recessions don't always mean housing market crisis, but now the government and interest rates in the housing market are kind of more tied than they were historically. So let's just assume they're correlated. Debt is up, consumer spending is through the roof, etc. So I had a client work for American Express, said, dude, the normal was like $2 billion a day, now it's $4 billion a day, or something crazy. They're like, so much spending happening, so there's all this debt. But on the other hand, when you look at 2008, no one could afford their homes that were underwater. These submarine homes that were underwater, they couldn't afford them. Right now, there are two reasons why so many people can afford their homes and probably shouldn't lose them. One would be they're locked into the lowest interest rates in history. We had a sustained period of time of 2% interest rates. People should be able to afford those payments. People also locked a lot of equity, like a lot of cash, capital into their homes. Mm-hmm. We were losing to people like 800 cash, 600,000 down on $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, these were the kind of offers being written in the peak of this market. Those people don't just walk away from that home. Now, if they refi all their money out or HELOC it, that's something different. Most people aren't doing that. You don't have the same loose lending that you had last time. So for those two reasons, affordability because of interest rates, affordability and commitment of all the equity, capital being locked in as equity, I don't think there's just this house of cards. On the other hand, if the jobs report keeps going the way it is and no one has jobs, well, that's a reason to think you couldn't make payments. But I certainly don't think we're positioned for 2008. I saw so many people putting hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s into their offers. You don't just walk away from that.
Yeah.
If you got to have your brother move in with you to save that house, you do it.
Yep.
You don't just walk away from that
Yeah.
house and let it go. So.
All right, Sean, how can you avoid potential scams when looking for a place from the mainland? I'm assuming you're talking about rentals. So if
they're on a church mission in Africa, I need you to wire their, I just hear that one a lot. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
One of our, you didn't help them. We
What?
had these one clients, they were like, seemed super sketchy. They were like on a church mission in Africa, but it was the case. Like they
that
really
literally
were.
what they literally
And
were.
like they were like, the door's unlocked, go view it. And we're like, what? And they lived there for 6 months, paid the people, talked to them, anyway.
Well,
but
I mean, I think the easiest way would be to go only through like the professional standpoint of like a property management team, which is a licensed person that you can easily look up online on the Hawaii Board of Realtors, Honolulu Board of Realtors. That would be the safest because we just, you look them up online and see that they're a, professionally managed property with a property management team of licensed real estate agents.
that's the surefire way.
Yeah.
Then if I had to go look at scams, if you go to Craigslist, probably higher likelihood of scam. Facebook, less likely than Craigslist, but probably more likely than the realtors. And then there's all sorts of other ones. I'll drop a little nug. There's a website called AHRN. Now it's for military. I don't know if anyone can get into it. But back in the day when the internet was a little newer and there wasn't Facebook, all this, AHRN was like the...
I wasn't born yet, I don't know.
It's like the relocation hub. So like military people would list their homes there, so other military people would rent them. And you can still find some nugs there.
Okay. All right, Sarah Johnson, with Ho'opili releases, were you talking about single family homes or condo, townhome? Both. So that's the way that they were being released for both of them. Yeah. Joey Del Rosario, please do another vid on IAEA with your relatives that you mentioned. I miss my old stomping grounds, and yes to more folklores, night marchers.
I was surprised how many people. Were you surprised by that?
Yeah.
Everyone was like, bring on the Hawaii chicken skin story.
Like Obake Files.
Yeah, Obake Files.
We're revamping. We're gonna
Because we went to
Obake
the
Files.
Heiau,
Yeah.
and we're like, I have a story about Michelle meeting a psychic there, and everyone was like, yeah, more. I was like, really? So yeah, maybe we'll probably gear up for Halloween, do like a big one. But yeah, thanks for the feedback.
Okay, Dean. Hi guys. Hi Dean. I'm a nurse who wants to move to Hawaii from Seattle. Which city is good to start a new life with? If you're undecided between islands, job opportunity wise, Oahu probably will have more. We just have more hospitals here. But it really depends. Like if you mean like which city on Oahu, it's gonna depend. If you want to be close to work, you want to be.
Dean, what unit do you work in? Are you post-op, PACU, labor and delivery, NICU, PICU, CVICU, etc.? I'm just flexing a little.
I was just like, this is just totally unnecessary.
I'm flexing a little because I used to work in the hospital.
Because it matters. If you want to live, you can't. If you work in the NICU, you can't live in Honolulu.
Well, no. If he's pediatrics, he might want to be closer to Kapilani.
Also.
If he's heavy OR, Straub is the big ortho for Hawaii Pacific Health.
It really depends. Like, what's your work preference? What's your lifestyle preference? What type of area do you like to be in? Do you like the ocean? Would you sacrifice commute so that you could be closer to the beach? There's all kinds of questions.
Yeah, this island is small that, barring like you saying, I need to be close to work and I specialize in a certain unit, other than that, it's just more of a affordability and geography and preference thing. And outpatient here doesn't pay that well, just FYI.
Okay, let's see. Kay, I know there's a lot of sensitivity of mainlanders moving to Hawaii. I was just considered by Hawaii DOE to be a SPED teacher there. What is your thought about those who want to contribute to move there?
Come.
Please come. Like, we need qualified people to be in positions, especially like the one that you're in.
So my wife is a teacher. She stopped because it was tough. If you connect with us and you want to connect with my wife, she's elementary education. She was in a blended class, so had like 6 IEPs through COVID, so virtually. I'm going to vent too. This has nothing to do with moving to Hawaii, but to speak to like Hawaii's bureaucracy and our kind of sort of temperature on COVID, it was during COVID, it was come to school and you'll die, so don't come to school because of this virus. For the kids with IEPs, for special ed kids, come because we won't get our funding if you don't come. Mm-hmm. If those kids didn't come to school, the school lost their funding. So you'll die, but not you guys, come because we need our funding. And it was ridiculous. So my wife's not teaching currently, but 3rd grade, blended class, special education. She still subs. And as far as how we feel, I don't represent all local people, neither does Mahe, but I do think we represent the majority. Come, like, we need people to take care and nurture our keiki, our children. Yeah. And if people want to have arguments about like, oh, they're gonna come and take jobs, whatever, like we are empathic to that, like empathetic to that. Mm-hmm. We understand, but then I don't even listen when it's doctors, neurosurgeons, physicians, teachers. Like we need these people, and we're not a closed off society,
I mean, that's not to say that you may not ever, have harder time integrating, that you're not going to run into somebody who's a jerk, whatever.
There's idiots everywhere.
But especially I feel like somebody who is a SPED teacher, that's like, we really, really love our babies here. We really, really want the best for our keiki here. And it would be hard pressed to find a parent or somebody in the community who is against having good quality, qualified people, professionals taking care of our kids. We just
even
need
me,
that.
I'm not big on school. I'm not a big fan of school at all. But that kind, like for young, early education, SPED, etc., we'd love to have you. Okay, what's next?
What's up, Charlotte and Zyrell? Hi, Josh. No, I'm sorry. How do you say that? Josue.
Josue.
I don't know. Do you think that's
Josue. Garena. Oh, no
questions. Just hi. What's up?
Okay.
Hi.
What up? Did I say Josue right?
Probably not. I feel like no.
I think it's Josue. I lived in Cali, okay? California.
Okay. Renee Bhattacharya. I'm moving to Oahu next week from Houston, Texas to stay with family there. I will rent later and want to know the best months of year to get good rental rates. I worry about tourist rate hikes. Well, I don't think...
Maybe.
I don't know if peak season, because we don't really... if you're like looking with Airbnbs, it's that we don't have that much of that anymore anyway. But if you were looking for a short-term rental, maybe peak seasons would be harder.
Yeah.
But if you're just like a normal, looking for a long 6 to 12, normal term rental,
it doesn't matter much.
Doesn't really
maybe
matter.
Fall might be a little better, but when people are doing price drops on rentals, they're small. They're not doing like these. We were gonna rent it for $4,000, but now we're gonna do $3,000.
I can neither confirm nor deny this, but I have a strong inclination that the months of like June, July, right before school starts, prices are higher as people are more in a rush to get into the school districts.
Yeah, so come October, so like I have a 30-day rental and it was hardest to rent in October. Come October, you might rent for a little less, but I'm like $100 or something. I don't think it's gonna. I would be more concerned about your personal timing. Mm-hmm.
Also, Renee,
and there'll be less to choose from.
Bhattacharya, you're coming to be with your family here. The doctor who delivered both of my kids was a Dr. Bhattacharya, so I wonder.
I was just wondering how you couldn't say Josue.
But I could say Bhattacharya.
Yeah, I was going to point that out.
The person who delivered my 2 kids.
Bhattacharya.
Dr. Bhattacharya. So,
okay.
Are you related? Do you guys know each other? I feel like that's not a super common name here.
I don't think so.
Okay, let's see.
Following up. Am I skipping?
No. I think we're
Josue. Did we say it right?
Perfect. We said perfect. Following up for Dean regarding the nursing. He works with Kupuna. Is life in Honolulu possible if I can work in a nursing home, assisted living? Can I make enough to afford rent somewhere close?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. What is the old, there's a hospital that's more of a geriatric and long-term healthcare facility. Kuikini?
Yes, Kuikini.
Kuikini, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, especially near Kuikini, you can find affordable, like downtown Honolulu, condo might be an option. Yeah. I mean, I don't think, different, as you know, like Kaiser probably pays the most here, and then Hawaii Pacific Health next, and then the VA lower, but good benefits, etc. So like VA, long-term nursing facility, or like Kuakini are likely.
Yeah.
What next?
What company moves your crap by the volume and not by the weight? Need to save. I think that's dependent on locally to you, right? Like you have to check in with your companies around you.
By volume or by weight? So here's the way it works. If you're moving nationally and internationally, there's basically 5 major movers. If you go Google, move my stuff from wherever you are to Hawaii, you could get any sort of sales organization, or you could enter whoever's sales funnel. It's going to get brokered to one of 5 major moving conglomerates. We're working on vetting out 2 of them. There are 2 that I know to be the only 2 that we would really recommend. I don't know if they do volume or weight, but there's only 5. And if you Google by volume, you'll get them. So I'm gonna I'm gonna refrain from giving a recommendation right now. I have 2, and we're working to develop like an affiliate with them. But I want to vet these things out, their ratings, their customer satisfaction. Before we give a recommendation, I got to be sure.
Okay.
So.
All right, let's see. What kind or quality of condo may be available for professionals on Oahu at or around $2,000 per month? Do you mean for renting?
I don't know.
Well, how much space do you need as well? If it's just, are you like a single professional? You just need 1 bedroom. Do you work from home? Are you that type? Are you a work from home professional and you need extra space? Do you need a room for people to visit? That's a little on the lower end. Probably like in the Metro Honolulu area, you could probably find something. Even in Mililani, there are a couple places that are smaller townhome condo.
I know
we're
in Malka, we were renting a
2-bedroom is like kind of like the limit and like
more
pushing
Waikalani maybe.
Yeah, you're like pushing it.
Like outer skirts of Mililani.
Yeah.
Not really. Yeah. Can you invite Jody?
Yeah.
Can you? Well, before that, can you put us on our screen here? Mahe and I wanted to show a listing that we have. Got into contract, rates shifted, etc. And anyways, we want to get this thing sold. So if you're out there, buy it. How come?
They did it timeout. Because it was open for too long.
I know, but...
You gotta refresh the whole page.
Here. 1609.
We got another question. If you want to just take that.
Here we go. So Mahe, tell us about this unit.
All right, so this unit is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Capitol Place, which is in downtown Honolulu.
Kind of on the a little bit more on the Kaka'ako side of downtown.
Yeah.
Like you're starting to blend towards the other part.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, this is a Kobayashi build, which if you're familiar with them at all, they do more of like a high-end luxury feel. So
feels like it inside.
Yeah, so the building is really well kept. The amenities are nice. They have 24-hour staff downstairs. It's a very secure property. You have to be let in. You have to fob in. Just nicer details, a little bit more modern of a feel. Now, this one is a 2-bed, 1-bath. There are built-in California closet system, brand new.
$10,000 closet.
Yeah, all of the split ACs have just been serviced. It's fresh paint, all of that.
If the vibe and energy of the person leaving has anything, if you believe in energy,
Yeah.
Greg's the coolest.
Yes,
Like,
definitely.
He's the coolest. You want to buy his place of anyone's place.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
What is that? Oh.
Oh, this is like the
So taking a look at some
like
of
the
the
common
common
areas.
elements, there are barbecue pavilions, there's a dog park, so this is a pet-friendly building. There is a gym. There's multiple music rooms. I think there's 2 music rooms. So if
Interesting.
so if you're like what the heck would you ever need that for? Okay, if you have kids who do piano lessons and you don't want to drive them someplace, their teacher can come there.
Oh, that's cool.
Or if you're a musician and you are, your whole life, you're like, I want to live in condos, but I can never practice, I can never rehearse because it's too loud for everybody else. That's what these are for.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's like
Can
a
have
yoga.
a kid in band there.
Yep. And there's
I want to watch a movie in here.
There's a big theater room with the whole shebang, popcorn machine, all that cool lighting, blah,
There's
blah,
a
blah.
popcorn machine?
Yeah, in the corner there.
Oh.
That is a popcorn machine.
I'm here for it.
And so people love this area. It's very easily accessible to like Nimitz. It's right there off of Vineyard. You can get on the freeway, you can get on Nimitz, you can get on the Pully. So you can get to the east side, you can get further into town, and you can access the highway to get back to, west side very easily from this place, where you might think like that doesn't really make a difference to me, but town traffic is a thing. So local traffic within town is a thing.
That is, like town, especially if you live like Ward or Alamon area and then you're trying to get up Ecoy or
Yes.
Sand Island, that can be, on a bad day, that's half an hour.
Yeah. So it
And
is a thing.
That's a thing, yeah.
And-
Whereas this, you like cut into like Dillingham and you're on the freeway a little quicker, yeah.
So this one is just, easy to every single place. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
close to Kaka'ako. It's close to Kaka'ako, but it's not in Kaka'ako, so you don't have the Kaka'ako price tag, but the accessibility of it is there. So if that sounds like something
One
that's
of the more
interested.
elevated buildings
Oh, for
outside of
sure.
Kaka'ako and in downtown Honolulu, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. You guys want to see the artist that's going to do our wall back here? Check him out. All right. So we are going to get something like this here and on the wall coming into our content studio. So,
Ooh.
oh, look at that one.
So a little sneaky peeky of the style, the artist
Oh,
style.
I'm kind of liking the white and gray now instead of white and black.
No, we've already decided.
What you feel about the white and gray?
Don't care. Don't want to hear it.
Okay. All right. But anyways, this guy, he's going to do, can you, go to
gotta go on
Instagram for me?
Instagram.
All right, so render 808. So don't leave our live to go to Instagram. But
We're gonna show it to you right now.
something like, I'm not logged
Fun
in.
it.
I'm not logged in.
Rookie mistake.
Rookie. So he's going to come in tomorrow. So the next time you guys see it live in the space, boom. And if you're agents who want to work with
Boom.
us in Hawaii, because I know agents watch our channel, we're actually going to allow agents to shoot content in our space. There's a couple ways that we're working on that to promote, not to promote anyone else's business, but to maybe help people build some businesses. But yeah, that's Render 808. And we're also going to document it for the channel. So we're going to kind of show him, doing the studio, doing the content space, and do a little video on that and showcase him as well.
Looks major, Aubrey says.
Major.
Yeah. Hi, Stephen, Chrissy.
All right, could you tell Jody?
Yeah.
Come in.
Yeah, let's
All right,
bring
we'll just
Jody
spit game
in
for
here.
now. All right. Yeah, bring her. Yeah, well, we'll keep talking. What else you got?
All of a sudden, I don't know what to talk about.
First time out here, not talking my ear off. We closed in March. We closed like nine,
March is a
10
good
deals.
month, yeah.
Maybe 12. We closed a
think
lot of
more.
houses in March.
But the team did more, because I think I was on like 7 or 8 myself in March.
So the team did more. So
Yeah.
we are keeping our finger on the pulse, I guess, is the point. And we're probably bringing on another agent or two soon. So we're positioning ourselves to do more and on other islands. For whatever reason, I've gotten a few Big Island requests recently, and they say, well, we really want you. So the guy's like, I really want you though, because
Yeah.
you know how to speak numbers and investments. And I said, I appreciate it. Would you rather have someone who I train and oversee, or just some rando
Yeah.
from whatever website? And I'm not boots on the ground on Big Island. Now, we have sold homes on other islands. if it's a listing and or if it's a buyer who knows like I want this house.
Got to be super honed in for it to kind of like make sense for us
For
physically to do
like
it.
Mahe, right, to fly to Maui, fly to Big
Yeah.
Island. Not that we're not willing to do it. It doesn't make the most sense, and they're depending on your exploration process and what you need. We may not be the best. We want to make sure you have all bases covered. So if we are, coaching the negotiation, you're working with our lender or whatever, and then our boots on the ground on Maui or Big Island or whatever, they're helping you, but we're still guiding it. Then it's best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes I'll refer something to like say Arizona, and the agent's like, "Oh, I cover everything from Tucson to Phoenix to Scottsdale to Flagstaff. I can do all of Arizona." What that tells me is that agent doesn't have enough to do, and they're willing to travel 200 miles, 300 miles to serve any client for any situation. If they were so good, they'd have like. That's not the best thing for you. If an agent's like, oh yeah, like I live in Hawaii, but like Vegas, Ninth Island, I'll fly there and sell you a house. Maybe for a luxury situation, but it doesn't typically make mathematical sense. Now, with that being said, I have like a close friend who's doing that right now.
I know.
Like selling houses
It
in
already
Vegas.
just, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I would say she's the exception, and she shouldn't be doing it. Like she's sacrificing her health to do it. So. Point is, we're getting a lot of outer island requests recently, and we can help you. Just we will be compassionate and honest and transparent about our level of involvement as we help you.
Yeah.
We have more questions? New questions? 76
Just a lot
people.
of love being
a lot of
sent
love.
over.
What's your guys' favorite part of the island? We're from Long Beach, watching your videos, love moving to Oahu. Miguel, what's up, Miguel? What is your guys' favorite part of the island? I want to know. So for you guys watch our videos, or maybe you've been here, whatever, you like the east side, like Kailua, you like the North Shore, you like town. Eric Hekila.
Eric is a homie. He's on all the time.
You know Eric?
Yeah, we love Eric.
Buy versus
He's here all the time.
buy versus bring with you, depending on if it matters.
Oh, your
cost.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Might be an interesting chat later.
North Shore.
Different strategies for shipping, etc. Chun's Reef.
Chun's is fun.
Eric, do you want to buy a house specifically right on Chun's Reef? Ever beach in Honolulu, catch me in Honolulu. Catch me in Honolulu. Catch me outside, how about that? That makes sense, Derek. I thought you were ignoring me since I wasn't looking at Oahu.
Kailua Town. Okay.
Oh no, Dreamcatcher. Did I ignore you? Like, did you, I don't
maybe we
think you
missed a question.
Did we miss your comment up top? Mahalo for the semi-answer. What company moves your crap by volume and not weight?
okay.
No, anyways, we never ignore you.
Windward Side.
No, wife and I learned to surf there for our 26th
Oh,
anniversary.
nice.
Windward Side
Who
for
was it?
sure.
Uncle Brian's. Was that the rental company you guys went through? They're there all the time.
Professional with no kids will be traveling between islands for work. Would love to be able to garden, have access to community garden. Need to be able to have disability accommodations. Renee, are you related to Dr. Bhattacharya?
No, she said no.
Oh, she said no?
Yeah, she said she's not.
Called me out, Derek. Cash me outside, girl. Is from Florida. She would be from Florida. You know, I'm from Florida, right? I was born in Florida.
Oh, now you're from Florida.
I can claim either, chameleon. Well, I want you guys to ask us more questions, give us more comments, tell us, what you're repping, where you like your
North
favorite
Shore
place on
Surf
the island.
Girls. Okay.
And in terms of what stuff to move, we've had this conversation on here before, but it's really like weight versus volume. So if I'm with a moving company that's like, oh, we measure the cubic footage and that's how we move stuff, and then I'm just bringing kettlebells, like that's a good bang for your buck. What I feel my company did when I moved over, they said they were going by volume, and then there's this calculation that's impossible to calculate, and they just made sure they got theirs. Like,
Yeah.
because I had some kettlebells and stuff and weights, and they're like, yeah, that's gonna be $5,000. I'm like, but I measured it, and they're like, no, it ended up being more, and I'm like,
Okay.
My stuff's already in your container. Like I'm flying out in 2 days. I guess you got me. So be careful. Also, things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get here very easily. So if you have like a redwood desk that's high quality, or like we have basic furniture stores here of like Ashley kind of stuff. There's Inspiration, and then maybe some custom table makers. But like if you're from like Pennsylvania and these Amish people made your table, and like you can't get that here, you know. So
Any big, nice furniture pieces that are any kind of custom, you're not going to get here. So.
or don't bring that because you may not be moving into as big of a place
That's
here as
true
you
too.
think. So if
Yeah.
you got this huge couch, you might not be working in your little house you can afford in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I'm a big fan of bringing your vehicles though, because for one, might have roaches. Hawaii cars can get roaches. It's true. You want to buy someone else's problem, and cars cost more here in general, so that cost the $1,000 you're paying to ship your car over, it's worth it, because now even if you're at a break even, you have the security of knowing that's your car. You did the oil changes. Mahe never drove it. Like all these
Yeah,
things.
you don't
like
want
the
it.
security
You don't wanna
of
buy
knowing
my
that that's
car.
your car. So big fan of your vehicles. For personal items, take the opportunity to declutter, get rid of as much as possible. But
Bring
if it's
the stuff that's important to you, that has sentimental value,
If
that
it's
is a
important or
family
unique.
heirloom. Important or unique, yeah, that would be, I feel like,
important, unique, and or you just need it when you get here.
yeah. But anyway, Jody
Bring
is
in
here.
Jody.
So let's bring her in.
Did anyone drop any more questions?
I don't think so. I'm gonna give her my mic.
There's a rent. There's one in there.
Huh?
There's one.
Stay. You can stay.
She need mic.
Yeah, we just right there. Come.
Ready?
That's why I got this couch.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I am
Oh, you wanted to leave?
I,
There you go.
gotta pee.
Okay, go.
Everybody on the internet.
Everyone on the internet.
Hello, everyone on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
Needs to use the bathroom sometimes.
So we're bringing in Jody. We're going to talk a little about rates and things of that nature. Market update of sorts. And we're getting her mic'd up. What else do people put in the comments? What's crime like on Oahu and Maui? Is it getting crazy? Oh, Bay Area? So, Lewis, I was in the Bay a few months back. I used to live in Alameda and Oakland. Jody went to school in San Francisco. She knows the deal. My car got broken into. I flagged down these, and the people who broke into it, I'm pretty sure they were standing right next to it, just hanging out, smoking a joint or whatever. And then I flagged down these cops, and I was like, hey, hands up, don't shoot. Hey, we just got broken into. And then he was like, oh, when's the last time you lived here? Oh, he's like, oh, I have family in Kailua. And then he was like, don't come here. What are you doing here? I was like, what do you mean? We always just come here. He's like, when's the last time you lived here? I was like, oh, it's been a long time, like 2018-ish. He's like, don't come here. Like after COVID, this place isn't safe the way you think it is. And so I get it. So to answer your question though, more about Oahu and Maui, it's not like the Bay. With that being said, we certainly do have crime. Our clients, Gabe and Karma, said they lived in El Cerrito. And he's like, I lived in the Bay my whole life, or is it Albany? Somewhere like north of Berkeley. Lived in my Bay my whole life, never got broken into, and then the first time I ever got broken into was here in Hawaii. That being said, they did leave their door and windows open. Mm-hmm. Not that should excuse anyone, but they just figure it's Hawaii, they got loose, it's breezy weather, we're gonna go leave for 5 hours, leave their stuff open, they got broken into. So we certainly have our crime. I'd say we don't have as much violent crime as the Bay, for sure. Jody's here. We got more questions?
Kay, I think you skipped it. For renters question.
Kay Sakue? For renters, can you explain what the excise tax that landlords can pass down to you? For any business in Hawaii, any business income, there's a 4% general excise tax that gets charged to the business. When you own a house that you're renting, that income qualifies for that. So they'll charge you the $2,000 and then also pass on the 4%. If you get a painter comes in, if a roofer, every contract, every tradesman passes on the GE tax. No one complains about it there. But like when a real estate agent needs to get paid, like I'm not paying your tax.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because for contractors, no problem. For service professionals, kind of more like no way. So yeah, that's what that is. Huh? ERT. Oh, ERT. I'm an American expat living in Japan, overseas for 15 plus years, and no longer have credit score, have plenty of cash. How hard will it be to rent? It could be a little more challenging with no, what do you say? No credit.
And no credit score. I mean,
No
that
credit
gets checked.
Yeah, that gets checked. The explanation may suffice. Depending on your employment and your income, you can make up for your like street cred a little. Like, okay, no, but I'm a, lower level exec for Google. I have plenty of money. Could make up for that, but it'll be a little more challenging because most property managers want to follow the standard recipe of checking your references, checking your credit. Doesn't vet out. I don't want to overthink that. Just leave it alone. So, I heard that ASB still has some cash on hand. We're using that money to lend out at lower than market rates. Can you confirm or deny this? There's portfolio financing. Ooh, Larry's a smart guy. You know anything about that?
Using money to lend at lower than market rates.
Yeah, so the question is basically if someone's doing portfolio lending.
Yeah.
So market rates or
They all
market
are.
rates?
All the brick and mortars.
Yeah, so
Banco, FHB, ASB.
they're doing portfolio
CPB.
loans for
Yeah.
less than the market standard.
Yes.
Okay.
But they have their own set of guidelines and rules.
Okay.
And they're a lot harder than market standard.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess it's out there. It just depends.
It's the ideal clientele that they're looking for. Someone's putting a huge down, someone with a super low debt to income ratio, and someone with a very high amount of reserves.
Okay.
So,
So not just anyone can get those.
right.
Okay.
PN.
Who?
PN.
What do you see? Renting right now, have a mortgage on property in mainland. Is pre-approval for mortgage loan for a second property more difficult to get? So the person's asking, PN's asking, they have a property on the mainland, but they're renting here in Hawaii. Now they want to buy in Hawaii. Is it harder to get that mortgage?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's more expenses.
The paperwork's not any harder for them.
No.
Like their process is no harder. You have to be more scrutinizing.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's higher risk.
Yeah.
Higher risk because it's a second property.
And so even though your rent on the property on the mainland should offset the mortgage expense.
So let's assume they're cash flowing on the mainland.
Right.
They're positive.
At the end of the day, the underwriter has to take into consideration that there could be a vacancy rate. There could be months that you're not going to have that income. And so therefore, we only take a certain percentage of that potential rent that you're getting or the rent you're actually getting. And then on top of that, we need to know how long you've been renting it, and then the paperwork has to align. That's the bigger hurdle.
So I bought an investment property less than a year ago. And then I came to these guys again and said, because as a real estate professionals, we have a tax advantage to buying. We can take depreciation. And so I went to them and I was like, hey, can I buy again? And they're like, no, yeah, but, and I'm like, but I do well. I do all right for myself. But it doesn't matter because you have all this debt on these other homes that you bought. So it's harder to get qualified.
Yeah,
but,
so it's yes and no.
The paperwork's just as easy. You might as well check. Also, maybe, I think the more like we're speaking in hypotheticals. For this person, the more likely outcome is we may or may not refi that one on the mainland. Maybe, like there's all sorts of things that the lender could do or recommend to move you in position to buy.
Right.
And if your income's there and you're cash flowing on the mainland, I feel, from my perspective, probably shouldn't be a problem. If your
Right.
credit's good, you're cash flowing positive on the mainland, it's been performing for a while, probably going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's understanding your Schedule E.
Okay. All right.
Piggyback on that question.
CJ, piggybacking that question, can you give me my phone over there? And pull up the thing. Piggybacking, can you also share a VA loan property. Can you also share of a VA loan property in Southern California under the VA loan? Planning to retire.
Yeah, so depending on your initial balance that you had on your VA loan, that's how we will know how much remaining entitlement you'll have.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you don't, if you want to retain your property in SoCal, that's totally possible.
This is what I was alluding to too. Like maybe you refi that one to a conventional loan because it's worth this much, you owe this much. So you put it on a conventional loan, free up your VA, buy with VA over here. Like we do that. There's probably not a month that goes by that you guys aren't doing one of those, right? Excuse you.
And then depending on how high you want to go, there's a chance you don't even need to do the refi. Just using remaining VA entitlement.
Teeing up your follow-up next, CJ. Okay. Kay said, does Jody work for a specific bank or a mortgage lender? What is the climate and options between banks and mortgage lenders?
That's a great question.
Not a specific bank.
Nope.
So Jody's not like, I work for Loan Depot, and therefore I can only do loans through Loan Depot, for example. She could do loans through multiple people, so I tend to prefer that because I can be like, well, why can't we get a better rate? Or what for this unique situation,
Right.
let's use a different, like, I'm always learning things through the different avenues that they have. Is there more to expand upon with this question?
I think that's, I mean, at the end of the day, the way that I like to say it is like when you're working with a specific lender that works for a bank or a mortgage banker, they're employed by the bank. They have bank rules, they report back to the bank management, and they only have a certain amount of wiggle room to be able to be flexible. I don't work for any bank, I work for you. I am a mortgage broker, so I have relationships with all the different wholesale lenders at the best interest rates, and so I can, based on your unique situation, find the best match, and that's what we do. We match it up, and then we get you the best scenario.
Their world is different. As skilled as I think I am, I don't know the lending side in and out, and I'm always asking them, like, teach me this, teach me this, teach me this. There's a lot going on in their world. Eric said he's returning. Oh, so basically he's saying I'm renting. Would paying upfront or a larger security deposit help? Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The law is the property manager cannot take any larger of a security deposit than equivalent to 1 month's rent. So they can take an additional pet deposit because you have a pet, so that could equal more in total, but your security deposit can't be 10 grand for your $2,000 rent. So that's one thing. They also should not, my understanding, I don't know which statute this is referenced, whatever, but when I went to the board and did a class, we asked this, they can't be taking payments in advance for 6 months, a year. Now, because what they don't want to do is the state, the powers that be don't want to put real estate agents in a position, and even landlords themselves, to leverage the poor renter and say, you got to give me 10 grand. Now, what the landlord has no more incentive to like fix leaky pipes and fix the air conditioner. Like, I got my money, go live in the house.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of bad thinking with that. So technically, at the time of initiation, they can take security deposit in first months. They should not be taking anything more. If the next day you chose to pay the next 12 months in advance, you could make that decision, but they cannot make that a stipulation of you getting into the relationship and signing the lease.
But you can show proof of funds.
You can show proof of funds. You can tell them, I'm willing to. They might still do it because they don't know the rules, or they may say, well, the fact that you're willing to do that is cool. Some property managers feel that's a red flag. That, like, why does this person want to pay 12 months? Like, are they a drug dealer? Mm-hmm. There are some PMs I know that see that as a red flag. They want just your traditional 8 to 5, clock in, church on Sunday type of people. And they might get confused by creative finances.
Right, but if you have, like, for the most part, if you don't have a credit score, and so it's like, well, I've been in Japan for 10 years.
If
so
that's what they have to do, they should present it.
Right.
Yeah. I would not worry about the latter. I would just show, I'd flex on them
Yeah.
and show them how much money I got. Don't roll your eyes at me.
Bye, everyone. I gotta go be a mom.
Mahe has to go
Bye,
be a mom.
Mom.
All right, let's close it up by talking about rates and some recent things. So rates, we talked about this last week, but after Silicon Valley Bank closed, rates went down a little bit. We repositioned some of our people in escrow, got them better rates. Maybe had to teach some agents about the contract to do so.
Yep.
And then rates went back up a bit. So,
As expected.
but we are seeing multiple offers. We're now seeing on the listing side and experiencing like multiple offers. So now sellers are setting like these dates, like, oh, we'll review offers on Thursday, etc. Where are rates? What are you seeing? And then, if you don't remember it, I'm going to remind you. I want to talk about the dollar. The dollar and the BRICS countries moving off of the dollar.
Right.
So, like, where are rates in the climate of the market from your standpoint?
So rates have improved a little bit.
Since when? Last week?
Yeah.
Like 7 days? Okay.
And that is as expected. I mean, so when we knew that rates came down because of the banking system concerns, we knew that was temporary in nature. It was a temporary input that led to an opportunity to take advantage of these better rates.
Excuse me, I already warned the people. I was sick. Mahe got me sick. I'm like getting over it. No longer contagious, I think. Well, okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Which were better than what we had locked them in at, right? So this temporary input happened,
And then an escrow period is roughly 30 days with
Yeah.
a 10-day extension.
Yeah.
Usually for us. So if people got into something and then had a chance to pivot, this all is within approximately 4 to 5 week period, right?
right, yeah.
So
So there was a 48-hour window that we had an opportunity, and this was during the scare. So
the
and-
Silicon Valley Bank and Swiss Bank or something
and
scary.
well, the Credit Suisse and then
Credit
Signature.
Suisse or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then what happened also the following week was that the Fed came out and they were going to say, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to increase rates half a point? Are we going to increase, this is the nominal rate. So this is the overnight rate, right? So
Okay.
this is very short term. But that's really the rate that controls and impacts the rest of the market. So the 10-year, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, all the way up to a 30-year bond. So we all knew they were coming out the following week after the banking scare to say what they were going to do. And that was the three options were increase by a half, increase by a quarter, or don't increase. And the expectation was if they increased by a half, rates were going to go up because everyone was expecting them to increase by a quarter. So if you increase by more than the expectation, that's really bad, and that is scary. And it's just like the banks would react by doubling down and
This
being
is where
like,
the lending stuff's so
I know.
confusing. It's
Why?
like it went up, so it went down.
yeah.
It went down, so it went up.
I'm trying to
It's so
like
hard.
simplify it.
Yeah.
But okay, so long story short, they increased by a quarter. Okay, and that was the expectation.
Okay.
So they were in alignment with what the market expected.
Okay.
Okay. And so what happens after the Fed, Jerome Powell announces what they're going to do is he has this commentary period where he talks to everyone. He answers a couple questions, but also he mainly talks about like the trajectory of the future. And basically, in that talk, he said that he only expects to have to increase rates 1 or 2 more times until the end of the year. And that's the messaging that the banks are now reacting to.
Okay.
Because banks were already, so banks, I mean, for the most part, there's competition and like the reason why it's good to be a mortgage broker is because on a given day, someone's gonna say, we need a big push, let's do a special. And so on that given day, this particular lender that we have a relationship with is gonna be beating the market. So if we have an accepted offer,
That's the free market principle: is competition is good, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. So, but at the end of the day, all of these banks pay someone, an economist, a market in-house econ person that's helping them set the rates. And while they're all very relatively close to each other, they're still having to price in what we call a premium based on expectations. So it's not to say profits, it's just to say this is something that's naturally built in because they need to be prepared for if something was to happen.
Okay.
Okay? And so when they get this messaging from Fed Chair Powell, who is saying he only expects a couple more rates, the economist is like, yes, great, I have so much more certainty now.
Okay.
And with that certainty, the banks are able to be like, okay, let's let it up a little.
Okay.
So part of that premium that was built in is slowly being removed.
I see.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
yeah.
So, in summary, I'm going to summarize because I think most people have a hard time understanding. Because of fear and uncertainty, the premium was built in so that rates had to be higher because error on the side of worse rates.
Correct.
Jerome Powell came out and said, well, we are raising rates. It's going, we have a relatively strong level of confidence that it will be predictable, 2 rate hikes. And so they said, oh, maybe we built in a little bit too much premium. We can
Right.
bring it down
Right.
to more accuracy. The more accurate they feel they can be, if they had betted too high or set it too high, they can come back to accuracy, right? Which, in effect, for today's buyer might be a little lower.
Right.
Okay.
And then if there's any other temporary inputs that occur, such as
A bank close, Russia, China, Brazil, India, Mexico go off the dollar.
right,
So what about that?
that's super scary. I mean, that is much more of a major concern as a nation.
I wasn't too concerned about the bank thing. When I see that the petrodollar, like maybe it's not the petrodollar anymore,
Right.
and countries seem to be opportunist and exploiting our current position. It's concerning to me.
It's very concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as it's overall a weakening of a nation.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother conversation. Not to be, and we're not even talking about our economic policy in terms of continuing to print money, because that's another way that the dollar is getting devalued.
Yeah.
Right? Because
80%. They say 80% of all dollars printed were printed in the last 2 years or 3 years.
yeah, that's scary.
That's. I don't know if that type of inflation is comprehensible for most people. For me. But if things are going to be inflating, so if the dollar loses value because it's no longer the basis for oil and world tensions, whatever, that might mean a different thing for me when I think of real estate. I don't know what it means for me if I'm thinking of buying or not buying a house. If they've printed trillions and there's inflation, I want to own a house. I want to own as many houses as possible. Because that means my $1 million house will become worth $2 million. Does that mean $2 million is worth $2 million? No, $2 million will get you less because the dollar's worth less.
Right.
But if inflation is going to be this thing where there's money circulating and as it settles into assets, businesses and real estate. I want to own those buckets, businesses and real estate. I want to catch that inflation in my bucket. So as far as inflation devaluing goes, I want to own real estate.
Right.
In a market that's always going to be desired, like Hawaii. Is there anything to draw or comment to make when talking about the potential weakening of the dollar because it is no longer the petrodollar and there's all these world tensions? Does it even relate to real estate?
It's difficult to say because we're so micro here
Hawaii?
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's difficult to say that there is going to be an impact. If anything, more people are going to be like, damn, like I don't want to live on mainland. Like I'm moving to Hawaii, you know.
Do you think so? Because some people might perceive that like, oh, if China wants to bomb us, Hawaii seems to be closer on the map.
That's why we're the most protected.
That's an optimist. Jody is like naturally a very positive person, and I'm a little more skeptical of everything.
I mean, we're really protected. Like there is 24/7 surveillance. I mean, we're small. We're mighty yet powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, we're located in the most strategical.
But if someone were thinking about tensions, they probably want to move to like Iowa or Idaho, not Hawaii.
I mean,
They
I
think
wouldn't want to
bombs are
move to
gonna
the
fly?
mainland.
Well, you would. We're your local girl. Like
Yeah.
you're never gonna want to move to the mainland.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
but economically, if something like is there any obvious conclusion to draw?
there's not.
There's
There
not
can't
with
be,
that. With
because
inflation, there is.
With inflation.
But with this, is there? I don't know.
There's not. I mean, and it's like usually what happens is at the end of the day, as these powers might be realigning, which is scary, at the end of the day, there is a tech component, a tech piece that's missing. And that's always been kind of like our thing, right? The
Yeah.
US, like the innovation, the tech. And that's what we have. And that's what they don't have. And so one could
Also,
argue.
human population and capital. Russia is shrinking. Japan is shrinking. These countries are shrinking. China, not so much. But from a resource and human capital standpoint, I'm parroting this really smart guy who went on to Joe Rogan. But they have long-term concerns because of their lessening population,
Right.
which is required to win wars and to drive economies, right?
And it's also like a different type of like blueprint. The human, the like blueprint of an American vice the blueprint of a Russian or a Chinese citizen. You know, you can't really compare it, and that's why our innovation and our tech does take these. That's where we have the upper hand.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, there's really I don't know what to make of it in terms of real estate and these countries coming together. Maybe there are world tensions that drive a third world war, and then, but am I not going to buy real estate because of that? Like, no, I still want to. Even in wars, people have to live places. Even in a world war, there's so many people, so many houses. We have a supply and demand, a land and demand issue in Hawaii. So I like the hedge against all these things that is Hawaii real estate, and I'm going to continue to buy it. Inflation is all the more reason for me to buy it, because if you keep your money in the bank and there's hyperinflation, it's just like withering away. You know, it's just fading away. If you have your money locked in, you should. If that's the only thing, for just the inflation conversation, you should not be liquid at all. All your money should be in assets. That doesn't mean that's the way you should behave. I mean, just in terms of the inflation conversation. So if you have any more questions, we will address them.
Troy's asking.
Derek is on point. Got to own real assets to catch the rain of money coming our way. Thanks. I always refer to it as like a phone booth. Like, you know, the game, I've said this to you before, but you know the clear booth where the money gets blown around and you gotta try to grab it?
Yep.
That's inflation. And then when they turn the wind off and it starts to settle, like that's where the money lands. So I want that bucket. I want to be able to catch it. And that's real estate for me. Could be owning like another type of company, like a logistics, like all these C corps, but I'm not that advanced right now. I can just buy real estate and be very wealthy as a result. If you have time, I really need the VOG question answered. Breathing issues, mahalo. Elderberry tea, Derek. Is VOG bad on all the islands? Which areas are the worst? Big Island's obviously the worst because that's where the active volcano is. And if you are downwind right there, then that's where it's going to be the worst, Big Island. It can be bad on like our island, but less likely because the winds don't shift this way as often. What's your honest feelings about the Red Hill water contamination? Did it will affect livability on the island? Well, again, so back to upwind, downwind, upstream, downstream. Red Hill, I knew a guy, Coast Guard guy, very he's the guy you'd want to talk to about this stuff. He lived upstream, no water problems, super concerned guy with this kind of stuff, no water problems, but lived right next to Red Hill. So what's my real concern? It sucks. It's the one indisputable, irrefutable pain with the American government and the Hawaiian people and even just people of Hawaii, like it's effed up. Is it a concern for the entire island? I don't think so, but I'm not an expert, but not to my knowledge. And
But
Just
definitely
stay
that
away.
area.
as a person that works in the defense industry, Hawaii is very protected, probably second to Alaska. All 5 our service in Hawaii, along with the Pacific Command. Thank you for confirming Jody's optimism.
Troy,
Is that-
you just skipped
Did,
Troy.
did she say we gotta go? Casey? Yeah,
Casey's
yeah.
calling. But Troy's the last question.
Okay, where's Troy?
You skipped it. I want to live in Hawaii. Can I find a single family for 1.2?
Why can't I? Oh, I want to live in Hawaii. Can I find a single family home for 1.2 million or less? Troy, single family for 1.2. That's like right on the verge. That's
Yeah.
like Hawaii Kai homes typically start higher than 1.2, but depends. What do you mean by single family?
And what do you mean by Hawaii Kai?
And what do you mean by Hawaii Kai? It's Kuli'o'o, Hahaione,
Right.
Kalama Valley, on the marina, Napali Haveo, Mariners Ridge. Like depends.
Yeah.
But like in Kalama Valley, yeah, can.
Yep.
So it just depends, but for sure, hit us up and we'll help you with that. Thank you guys. If you're watching this after the fact, leave comments, ask your questions. We try to pick comments from the last one for the next one. So if you comment after we go off, we'll use that to open up the next live next week. Thank you guys.